The royal palace stood high above the glowing city, carved from blue crystal that caught sunlight and scattered it into bright colors. Every morning, the palace looked peaceful and perfect. But today, everything was different. Alarm bells echoed across the corridors, guards ran in panic, and a cold, tense fear filled the air. Something terrible had happened. The queen's daughter had disappeared. Princess Lyra was the only child of Queen Varathia, ruler of the powerful Sarathi Empire. Her people respected the queen for her strength and feared her for her anger. She was known across the galaxy as a fierce leader who protected her people without hesitation. No enemy dared challenge her. No fleet dared provoke her. But she had one soft spot, her gentle daughter. Lyra was different from the rest of her fierce bloodline. She was calm, quiet, and sensitive. She spoke softly, walked lightly, and preferred silence over noise. She enjoyed the gardens, the glowing forests, and peaceful places where she could breathe without pressure. Most days, she stayed close to the palace, always protected by guards, which was why her sudden disappearance terrified everyone. The alarms continued ringing as the queen stormed into the central hall. Her tall figure glowed with powerful blue energy, a sign of her rising anger. Every guard bowed their head as she passed. Her eyes, bright like burning stars, scanned the hall with frustration and fear mixed together. "Find her," the queen's voice boomed. "Search every corner, every path, every shadow. My daughter cannot be allowed to vanish." Her words carried force that made even seasoned warriors tremble. While the palace shook under her command, one guard stood quietly by the side pillar. He was different from the others, not tall, not glowing with alien power, not born from their fierce bloodline. He was human. His name was Aaron. He had joined the Queen's Guard years ago as part of a peace agreement between humans and the Sarathi Empire. Many had doubted him at first. Humans were physically weaker than the Sarathi, smaller, slower, less naturally powerful. But Aaron had something else: calm, courage. He faced danger without shaking, spoke honestly without fear, and protected others with a steady loyalty that earned him deep respect. Princess Lyra had always trusted him more than most guards. She talked to him sometimes, quietly, in hidden hallways or quiet gardens. Aaron listened without judgment. He understood her gentle nature. He noticed the little things that other guards ignored, like how she touched her fingers when nervous, or how her eyes glowed slightly when she cried, leaving faint blue sparkles wherever she walked. Those sparkles were important now. As other guards ran around shouting orders, Aaron knelt on the crystal floor and looked closely. There, near the edge of the hallway, were tiny glowing dots, very faint but fresh. Only someone who had spent time with Lyra would recognize them. Aaron touched the sparkles gently. They were still warm. Lyra had been here recently, probably while scared or overwhelmed. Aaron stood and followed the trail. He walked quickly but silently, avoiding the groups of guards who were searching loudly. They always made too much noise. Lyra hated noise. She always chose quiet paths when she needed space. Aaron understood her better than most. He followed the glowing trail down a long hallway, then into a narrow side corridor that led toward the outer gardens. The deeper he walked, the quieter the palace became. The alarms grew faint, and the soft hum of the crystal walls returned. Aaron kept following the sparkles until he reached a small door made of glowing stone. It was rarely used, mostly for going into the forest behind the palace. Aaron pushed the door open and stepped outside. The forest was beautiful. Giant blue trees reached into the sky like tall lanterns, their leaves glowing softly. The ground was covered in smooth stones that reflected light like water. The air smelled fresh and calm. Lyra often said this forest helped her breathe when she felt trapped inside the palace. Aaron noticed the sparkles on the forest floor and followed them deeper. The path twisted around glowing plants and soft moss. The forest grew quieter, with every step. After a long walk, he finally saw something ahead, a gentle blue light shining through the trees. He moved closer. There, beneath a giant tree with silver leaves, lay Princess Lyra. She was curled up peacefully at the base of the tree, her hair spread around her like a bright halo. Her face looked calm, almost childlike, her breathing slow and gentle. But she wasn't alone. Aaron froze when he realized something surprising. Lyra was resting in someone's arms. And that someone was him. Confusion hit him at first. He looked around, trying to understand. Then, the truth came to him, slowly. He had been in the forest earlier that day, before the alarm started, sitting quietly beneath this same tree after finishing his shift. He had closed his eyes for a moment, breathing the fresh air, and at some point, without him noticing, Lyra had come to him. She must have been upset, maybe overwhelmed, maybe afraid of something. She had trusted him enough to sit beside him, then lean against him, then rest her head on his chest. She must have cried, judging by the sparkles on her cheeks. And when she felt safe, she fell asleep. He hadn't moved, so she stayed there. He looked down at her. Her head rested gently against his arm. Her glowing hair moved softly with her breathing. She looked peaceful in a way he rarely saw. No pressure from tutors, no eyes watching her, no expectations. Just calmness in the arms of someone she trusted. Aaron took a slow breath. He felt protective, gentle, and strangely honored. She had chosen him, but not for power, not for duty, not for politics. She chose him for comfort, safety, and peace. Lyra's eyelashes fluttered. Slowly, she opened her eyes. She looked at him with soft, glowing pupils that reflected the forest light. For a moment she seemed confused. Then her expression softened with relief. "You found me," she whispered quietly. Aaron gave a small smile. "I think you found me first." Her cheeks glowed faintly, her species' version of blushing. She didn't move away. Instead, she rested her head back against his arm, as if she belonged there. The gentle forest wind moved her hair slightly, making her look even more delicate. "I didn't mean to worry anyone," she said softly. "I just needed a quiet place. The palace feels heavy today." Did something happen?" Aaron asked. She nodded slowly. "Mother wants me to train harder. The council wants me to act more royal. Everyone wants something from me. But no one listens to what I want." Her voice dropped even softer. "Except you." Aaron felt a tightness in his chest. He didn't know what to say. He simply nodded, letting her know he understood. Lyra shifted closer, her shoulder touching his. "When I feel scared or lonely, I think of you," she whispered. "You make everything calm." Aaron's heart beat a little faster, but he stayed still. He didn't want to disturb her peace. But their quiet moment didn't last long. A deep rumble echoed through the forest. Leaves shook. The ground vibrated softly. Lyra sat up, eyes widening with fear. She knew that sound. Her mother was coming. Queen Varathia's power could be felt long before she appeared. The air grew colder, the light grew brighter, and the trees bent slightly in response. Aaron stood up slowly, helping Lyra to her feet. She held onto his arm, her fingers trembling. "She will be angry," Lyra whispered. "I'm here," Aaron said gently. "Stay behind me." Footsteps approached, heavy and full of energy. A moment later, the queen burst through the forest path. Her glowing armor reflected blinding light. Her eyes were sharp and fierce. Power crackled around her like lightning. She looked ready to destroy anything in her path. But then she saw her daughter. In the arms of a human guard, Varathia stopped instantly. Her eyes narrowed, confusion and shock tightening her expression. The forest went silent. Even the glowing leaves seemed to freeze. Aaron stood firm. Lyra held onto his arm. The queen's energy flickered dangerously, until Lyra took a deep breath and spoke in a small but steady voice. "Mother, I chose him." The queen's eyes widened. Aaron felt his heartbeat stop, and the entire forest waited for what would come next. Silence wrapped around the glowing forest after Lyra's quiet declaration. The queen's sharp eyes, bright like burning stars, moved from her daughter to the human guard standing protectively in front of her. Aaron kept his posture straight, even though he could feel the weight of her power pressing down on him like a heavy storm. Lyra stood partly behind him, her hands gripping his arm, her body trembling despite her effort to appear calm. Queen Varathia took one slow step forward. The ground under her feet cracked lightly from the intensity of her energy. She was not screaming, but the air around her felt charged, dangerous, almost ready to explode. "Lyra," she said with a low, steady voice. "Tell me again what you just said." Her voice wasn't angry. It was something heavier. Shock, confusion, and a sense of something she had never felt before. Lyra swallowed nervously and stepped partly forward, still holding Aaron's arm. "I said, I chose him," she repeated, her voice trembling but honest. "I ran to him. I felt safe with him. I rested in his arms, because I trust him." The queen's eyes moved to Aaron again. Aaron didn't speak. He knew this moment was delicate. One wrong word could turn calm into fire. He only bowed his head slightly, a sign of respect, not fear. Varathia's voice deepened. "Human guard. Aaron, did you touch my daughter without permission?" Her eyes glowed brighter, ready to burst into raw power if she sensed even a hint of wrongdoing. Aaron kept his tone steady and clear. "No, my queen. I was already sitting here when she came to me. She sat beside me on her own. When she leaned against me, I stayed still so she could rest. That is all." The queen stared at him, searching his face for dishonesty. But Aaron did not flinch. He had no lies to hide. Lyra spoke quickly, trying to calm her mother. "He didn't do anything wrong, Mother. I went to him because I was scared and tired. Everyone was shouting inside the palace. The lessons were too heavy, and I felt like I couldn't breathe. I only wanted peace, and I only find peace around him." The queen's expression softened only a little. Her anger wasn't gone, but the storm inside her seemed to shift direction. Instead of blaming Aaron, she was carefully examining the situation again. Varathia took another step closer, and the glowing leaves above her trembled at her presence. "Lyra," she said quietly, "you are the heir to the Sarathi Empire. You cannot simply vanish and run to a human guard. You caused panic. You frightened your people. You frightened me." Lyra looked down, her glowing hair falling slightly forward. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone." The queen let out a slow breath, something between relief and exhaustion. "Come to me," she said. For a moment, Lyra didn't move. Not because she didn't want to, but because her legs felt weak from fear and from the emotional pressure of the morning. Her hand tightened on Aaron's arm. Aaron felt her hesitation. He gently turned slightly toward her and spoke softly. "Go to her," he whispered. "She's your mother." Lyra nodded slowly and released his arm. She walked to her mother's side. Varathia lowered her hand and gently touched her daughter's cheek. Her energy, which had been sharp moments ago, became soft and warm. But then Varathia turned her head toward Aaron. "Human," she said. "Walk with us. We will return to the palace. There is much that must be discussed." Aaron nodded respectfully. He followed them through the forest as they walked back toward the palace path. Lyra kept glancing over her shoulder, checking that he was close. Every time their eyes met, she relaxed a little more. The walk back felt longer than the walk out. The queen moved quickly, her tall figure glowing like a walking star. Lyra kept beside her, quiet but calmer than before. Aaron followed behind, thinking carefully about what would happen next. He wasn't afraid for himself. He knew he had done nothing wrong. But he was worried about Lyra, how the palace, the council, and her strict teachers would react to her emotional escape. When they reached the palace gates, dozens of guards were waiting. They bowed the moment the queen appeared. Their eyes widened when they saw the princess walking calmly, unharmed, and they stared even longer when they saw Aaron walking behind them. Whispers spread across the group. He found her. The humans saved her. She was with him the whole time? Why him? The queen raised one hand, and all whispers instantly stopped. Inside the palace, the queen led them to one of the private resting chambers, quiet, peaceful, full of soft blue light. Once inside, she dismissed everyone except Lyra and Aaron. The great door closed behind them with a soft hum. Varathea faced them both. "Lyra," she said gently. "Sit." Lyra obeyed and sat on a long, soft bench made of glowing stone. The queen remained standing, her eyes sharp but no longer angry. She turned toward Aaron. "Human guard," she began. "I have watched you for years. You are loyal. You are calm. You have never disrespected my family or our laws. But what happened today cannot be ignored." Aaron nodded. "I understand, my queen," she continued. "My daughter is not just any child. She is the future ruler of our empire. Her safety is everything. You were found alone with her in a way that could easily be misunderstood." Aaron accepted her words without defense. "Yes, my queen. But," the queen added, her voice lowering, "my daughter speaks truth. She ran to you. She chose you. She rested in your arms because she feels safe with you. And that is something I cannot ignore." Lyra looked up nervously. Varathea sat down across from her daughter, her tall figure glowing softly. "Lyra, look at me." Lyra lifted her eyes slowly. Lyra hesitated, her fingers twisting gently in her lap. "He listens to me. He understands when I feel sad or scared. He never tells me to be stronger than I can be. He never shouts at me. He treats me like a person, not just a princess." The queen's eyes softened. Lyra continued, "When I'm near him, I feel calm, like the world becomes quiet, like I can breathe." Aaron felt those words like a weight on his heart, not heavy, but meaningful. He had never known she felt that deeply about his presence. Varathea turned her gaze toward Aaron again. "And you? Why do you think she trusts you so much?" Aaron was silent for a moment, thinking carefully before answering. "Because I never saw her as royalty," he said softly. "I saw her as someone who needed kindness. I only ever tried to give her that." Lyra's eyes sparkled slightly. The queen leaned back, observing him closely. "You are a simple guard, Aaron. A human among a powerful alien people. Yet my daughter chose your company over a palace of warriors. Do you understand what that means?" "Some." Aaron nodded quietly. "Yes, my queen. It means," she said, "that you carry a responsibility now." Lyra's breath caught. Aaron waited. The queen continued. "From now on, you will become her personal guard. You will be near her during lessons, travels, and official gatherings. You will be responsible for her emotional peace as much as her safety." Aaron bowed his head. Lyra's eyes widened with relief and happiness. But the queen wasn't finished. "However," she said slowly, "there are rules. You must respect boundaries. You must protect her without crossing any lines. And you must remember that my daughter's trust is something fragile. If you ever break it, there will be consequences." Aaron met her eyes without fear. "I understand, my queen. I will never harm her trust." Varathea studied him for a long moment and finally nodded. Then Lyra suddenly stood up, unable to stay seated any longer. She walked to Aaron with small, careful steps and looked up at him with soft, glowing eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "For finding me. For staying calm. For being here." Aaron gave a gentle nod. "I will always be here." The Queen watched them both closely, something thoughtful passing through her expression. Then she stood, tall and powerful once more. "There is one more thing," she said. "Today, Lyra chose you. Whether she understands the full meaning or not, it still matters. The Council will question this. The Empire will whisper. But I will stand between her and anyone who tries to shame her." Lyra's eyes softened with gratitude. "And you," Varathea said, turning to Aaron, "must be ready for what comes next." Aaron straightened. The Queen nodded slowly, her voice deep and final. "Good, because this bond between you two will change things more than you know." The forest outside remained silent. The palace stood still, and in that quiet moment, a new chapter in both their lives began to take shape, one that neither the human guard nor the alien princess fully understood yet, but both could feel growing gently between them. The days after the forest incident changed everything inside the palace. Life did not return to normal. Instead, it shifted into something quieter, deeper, and strangely warmer. Princess Lyra now had Aaron beside her every day, as her mother had ordered. Many guards were surprised, some were quietly jealous, and others whispered questions behind closed doors. Aaron woke early each morning and waited outside Lyra's chamber. When she stepped out, her eyes always softened the moment they met his. She walked beside him during her lessons, during her training, and even during her meals. The other guards kept their distance, respecting both her privacy and the Queen's order. But Lyra kept close to Aaron, as if afraid he might disappear if she let him drift too far. At first, she barely spoke. She was still shy, still unsure of how much she was allowed to express. Aaron also kept careful distance, not physically, but emotionally. He did not want to overstep the boundaries the Queen had warned him about. He did not touch her unless she stumbled or needed help. He did not guide her unless she asked. He was gentle, respectful, and quietly protective. But slowly, Lyra began to open up again. It started in simple moments. During her lessons, she would glance at him when she became confused or overwhelmed, and Aaron would nod encouragingly. During her combat training, when she grew frustrated with the strict instructor, she would look toward Aaron as if borrowing strength from his calm presence. Even at dinner, when the hall felt too loud or too bright, she would sit closer to him and breathe easier. One afternoon, after a long day of lessons, Aaron walked with Lyra through the sky garden above the palace. The air was cool, and glowing leaves swayed softly in the gentle wind. Lyra walked slowly, her steps soft on the crystal floor. Aaron stayed beside her, watching the horizon, where the twin suns sank behind the blue mountains. After a long silence, Lyra finally spoke. "Aaron," she said softly, I feel strange being assigned to me all the time." Aaron shook his head. "No, I feel honored." Her eyes turned toward him, surprised and warm. "Honored?" "Yes," Aaron said. "You trusted me that day in the forest." Lyra looked down at her hands. "I was scared," she whispered. "I didn't know where else to go. I felt like everything inside me was too heavy." Aaron walked slowly beside her. "Everyone feels like that sometimes, even strong people." Lyra smiled gently at his words. "But when I found you that day, everything felt quiet, like my heart stopped shouting. One, come." Aaron stopped walking for a moment. Lyra turned to him with a small, uncertain expression. He spoke softly. "You are never a burden, Lyra. Not to me." Her face softened, and she breathed out slowly, as if letting go of a weight she had carried for years. Over the next week, the bond between them grew in small, quiet steps. Lyra began to laugh more, She asked Aaron questions about humans, about Earth, about why humans didn't glow or fly or create light with their hands. Aaron answered her with patience, explaining how humans relied on heart and mind instead of special energy. Lyra loved listening, her eyes shining with curiosity. She also shared her own fears. She told him how the council wanted her to act stronger, to use her power more aggressively, and to hide her gentle nature. She told him how the palace walls felt like cages at times. She told him how lonely she felt, surrounded by people who served her but never truly saw her. Aaron listened to every word, and he understood. But not everyone in the palace approved of their growing closeness. One evening, as Aaron escorted Lyra back to her chamber, 2 elite guards stepped forward and blocked his path. They were tall, powerful Sarathi warriors, with glowing armor and sharp eyes. "Human," one said with cold voice. "The council requests your presence." Aaron nodded. "I will go after I take the princess to her room." The second guard shook his head. "Now, immediately." Lyra stepped forward quickly, fear rising in her eyes. "Why? What do they want with him?" The first guard answered with a stern expression. "They want answers about the forest incident, and about why you choose to stay near him." 1. N. 1. Lyra looked worried. She turned to Aaron. "You don't have to go. You didn't do anything wrong." Aaron gave her a calm smile. "It's fine. I'll answer whatever they ask." Lyra's fingers trembled slightly. She stepped closer and touched his arm gently. "Come back to me after. Come back to me. Come back to me after." Aaron nodded. "I will." The guards led Aaron to the council chamber, a large circular room filled with tall seats carved from glowing stone. The council members were already waiting, their eyes sharp with suspicion. The room felt heavy, like judgment hung in the air. The eldest council member leaned forward. "Human guard Aaron, we have concerns." Aaron kept his posture straight. "What concerns?" "You were found alone with the princess," another council member said, in a way that looked unusual. Aaron answered calmly. "The princess came to me on her own." "And she rested her head on your chest," a third council member added with narrow eyes. "Like you were someone she trusted deeply." Aaron didn't look away. "Yes, because she needed peace." The council chamber filled with soft murmurs. "She is the heir to the empire," one said. "She cannot seek comfort from a human guard," another added. "It breaks tradition," a third whispered. "It shows weakness," another muttered. Aaron finally spoke again, steady and firm. "She is not weak. She is overwhelmed. She is pressured every day. She needed someone who would listen to her." A.M. The eldest council member slammed his palm on the table. "You forget your place, human. You are a guard. Nothing more." Aaron met his gaze without fear. "I have never forgotten my place, but I will not apologize for giving her kindness." For a long moment, the council chamber fell silent. Then a new voice echoed from behind. "Enough." It was the Queen. Every council member stood immediately. She stepped forward slowly, her presence filling the room with an energy strong enough to silence an army. Her eyes were sharp, her voice clear. "You will not question his loyalty," she said. "You will not insult his kindness. And you will not punish him for something my daughter chose." The council members exchanged nervous glances. "My daughter is gentle," the Queen continued. "She is not like me. She is not like you. She needs calmness, not pressure, support, not judgment." He gave her what none of you could. No one dared speak. The Queen turned toward Aaron, her voice softer. "Return to my daughter. She is waiting for you." Aaron bowed respectfully and left the chamber. When he reached Lyra's hallway, she was there, standing in the middle of the floor, twisting her fingers nervously. The moment she saw him, her eyes brightened with relief. "Aaron," she breathed, stepping toward him quickly. Aaron shook his head. "Your mother spoke for me." Everything is fine. Lyra let out a long, slow breath. She stepped closer, her eyes soft and glowing. I was scared they would take you away. Aaron looked at her gently. No one will take me away from you, Lyra. Her cheeks glowed softly. She lowered her head for a moment, then looked up again, with quiet courage. Aaron, she whispered, can I tell you something? Of course, he said. She took a tiny step closer, her voice barely above a whisper. When I said I chose you, I meant it. Not just for safety, not just for calmness. Her glowing eyes met his. I feel something when I'm with you. Something soft, something warm. Aaron felt his breath catch, but he stayed still, letting her speak her heart. I don't know the right word for it, she said softly. But when you're near me, my chest feels light. The world feels easy. And when you're gone, I feel empty. Aaron listened quietly. His voice came out warm and gentle. Lyra, whatever you feel, I will respect it, and I will protect it. Her eyes sparkled with emotion. She reached out slowly and took his hand, not in a romantic way, but in a trusting, tender, innocent way. She held his hand, as if it was the only thing keeping her steady. Don't leave me, she whispered. Aaron squeezed her hand gently. I'm not going anywhere. Behind them, unseen, the queen stood at a distance in the hallway. She watched her daughter holding the human's hand. Her expression was not angry. It was thoughtful, protective, and strangely soft. She finally turned away, whispering to herself, if she feels safe with him, then so be it. Inside the chamber, Lyra leaned lightly against Aaron's shoulder, peaceful, safe, at ease. And for the first time in her life, the fierce queen's daughter did not feel alone.